welcome to my brand new YouTube channel called Scooter Bomb. My name is Michael and the channel is all about buying some of the worst condition bombs of scooters on the marketplace. Follow along while I build, restore and modify these scooters, giving them a brand new lease of life. Alright guys, here we are with build number 1. What do we got? A 1999 Yamaha Zuma BWS, affectionately known as a Prebug. And now the way you see it here is the way it arrived. The body pan is all taped up with red electrical tape. It doesn't start, but why is it suspended from the roof? It's because it doesn't have a stand. So let's get into it. Let's put a stand on it so at least it can support itself, and we'll get into the build. Check it out. Alright, so here we are, 1 minute into the build and we're already presented with our first problem. Our stand, brand new in the packet. Let's have a look under the bike. So it bolts to the case, the motor case. This side looks okay, but what do we have here? A broken stand mount. So what do we do from here, eh? How about we strip it down and see what that presents, give it a good clean up and go from there. Alright, this looks like it's the flywheel cover, the fan. We'll put that aside. So at least we now have a part for down here. Alright. So we have our first bit of bodywork off. Just a few minutes, we've got the bike completely stripped down to the motor, the frame, on the wheels. Here are all the parts here on the floor. Now that the bike's had a good clean, we can start getting stuck into what exactly is missing and why it won't start. So the first thing I notice is there's a couple of lines missing off the carburetor. So it looks like we have the oil feed line missing and maybe the carburetor drain line. And if we go around the other side, we can tell that this line here comes out of the oil tank down to the oil pump, and looks like this one here coming up is meant to be the oil feed for the carburetor with no hose attached. So I jumped down to the parts store. I got some fuel line, a battery and some fuel. Oh yes, that's a good sign. Now, I've disconnected the spark plug, so let's just try and turn it over and see what happens. Right, looks like we've got no power to the starter, so we'll just try and kick it. Okay, so here we are with the stator and the flywheel. So the stator is beneath the flywheel, and there is our pickup. The first thing I notice is there's some rust on the pickup. So we'll start by cleaning that off, and then maybe that might give us our spark back. Alright, so we've cleaned it up. We'll see if we get spark now. And no avail. So my next move, we take the pickup off and maybe check underneath. Okay, so you can see the bottom of the pickup is also rusty. So we'll clean that with a bit of sandpaper. So we've cleaned the bottom of the pickup there and the pickup on the flywheel. We'll bolt it all back in, and hopefully now we have some spark. So we pulled off the stator, the flywheel, and you can see the stator is all oiled up as well, and inside the flywheel it's all cactus as well. So we'll clean all this up and hopefully this solves it. Alrighty, so we have solved the issue. We've got the bike turned on, and my little assistant is going to give it a kicking. And we have some spark. Now, what was the problem? I'm embarrassed to say, but we share our fails and our successes. The kill switch was in the up position. Alright, so now that we've got the switch fixed, turn the key, fingers crossed. I'm out of ideas if this doesn't start. Okay guys, so the reason the little Zuma here wouldn't start was it had no spark. Rule number one, as we've just learned, although I'm positive the bike would not start because I did buy it off the previous owner and they couldn't get it started, is make sure the kill switch on the steering wheel or the steering column is not switched to the on position. Now, if you can't get any spark, these are your likely culprits. The first one here is your coil. This is what provides spark to the spark plug. It's very simple. Now you'll notice right here on these tabs, there's one on each side, one here and one here. They're rusty. Now they are part of an earth. Now If this is all rusted, you'll get a very weak earth, and then you'll get a weak or no spark. Very simple. Make sure that's clean. Moving on to the other end of the coil, where you got the spark plug cap. Deep inside here is the cap inside. Now that clips onto the end of your spark plug. That can be rusty too and mean you get a weak or no spark. But you don't necessarily have to replace the whole coil. By pulling back the rubber and untwisting it here, it'll come apart. Here we go. Boom. There you go. Now this part here you can buy down at your local parts store very cheap, about $7. And I did do this on this bike, I just didn't get it on film. Now inside there is a little wood screw. Grab your new one, chop off the end of your spark plug lead and screw it back in. Tighten him up, and there you have a brand new ignition coil. If you still have no spark, time to look at your flywheel. Now here is the pickup. Alright, now you see here it's nice and rusty. If you got rust on there, you'll get weak or no spark. Same thing. So clean that up with a bit of sandpaper and you should be good to go. Don't forget to check out the inside of it, however, as there is an oil pump right next to the stator. Sometimes you can get some oil or grease inside, as you can see, and that will provide you with a weak or no spark. Finally, we have the stator itself. Now it comprises of two components: the poles around the outside and the pickup here. Now you see here, these poles, they're all a bit rusty. This is a spare one that I have. If you've got rust on them, clean it up with a bit of sandpaper and you should be good to go. The last bit here is the pickup itself. Again, you can see on the end of the pickup there's a little bit of rust. Clean that up, put it all back together, and assuming all is well, you should then have spark. If you still don't have spark, then you might have to look at replacing some of these components. If the bike still doesn't start and you have spark, well then your issue is going to be either fuel or air. So time to start looking at your carburetor, but we'll leave that one for another time. Alright guys, that's it. If you liked what you saw, you want to see more of the Zuma build, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.